What's up, everybody? JD here. Technical difficulties at the beginning, as always. Yes, sir. Well, hey, we got James Stone coming on tonight. He is at, I think he's done, or he's got one more day left of PFMC meetings, and we're going to hear the final on both inland and ocean salmon seasons. And we're going to talk some other stuff too. So without further ado, let's just bring my man in. What's up?
Hello, everybody. Hello, JD.
Good morning, good evening, whatever it is.
Right.
What are you done with PFMC, or and for everybody, that Pacific Fisheries Management Council meetings, which have been going for hours, 12 hours a day for how many days now?
Too many. Over a week. I mean, there's a lot of sidebar conversations as well, but I mean, just the council process is, it's an amazing amount of time that people dedicate to this process. I've completed 3 years as an SAS representative, and it's a lot of work.
SAS being Salmon Advisory
Subpanel.
Okay. So, we got a little echo going. You got your phone on maybe or something?
I don't.
You got earphones?
I do. I can go get some.
Okay. I will let you go get some for a minute.
Okay.
And we'll stall for time, let some people get on here. So, as always, don't forget down wherever it is, comment section. We'll hopefully be able to answer some questions. Let me get to that screen. Already got a comment here. Bring it. All right. We're bringing it, Kevin, in a minute once he gets his headphones. So, let's see. Oops, we get him back. All right. DJ Stone is in the house, yo.
Stand by.
Still hearing echoes. That's weird.
I'm not on yet. Hold on.
Oh, okay. So anyway, before we get to that, we're going to bring up the little event we have coming up. The NorCal Guides and City of Calusa are throwing a pretty awesome, I was going to say sturgeon, I don't know why, striper derby coming up this weekend, and there's still time to sign up until when?
Thursday, April 15th at 8 p.m.
Okay, so go to, if you, and there's a $10,000 first prize for this thing, so this thing's legit. If you want to sign up, head on over, see if I can make it work. There it is. So ncgasa.org, and let's give them a little bit about the Derby. So we've got almost 100 and some odd entries now, and it's a 2-day event. Oh, you're still going. I don't know why. Maybe it's on my end. Maybe I need headphones. Once you start talking, I'll get some headphones. Actually, I don't think I have any that plug into this old computer. But can you hear through your thingamajigs?
I'm trying.
Okay. All right. You keep doing that. So City of Calusa, it's this upcoming weekend, and you can register till Thursday. $10,000 prize, lots of good food, great event. We're trying to keep it mostly catch and release, so we're not out taking out the private population, and it's from, I think, the Boundaries, and we'll get James on. Let's see if he's back here.
No luck with Bluetooth here while we're trying to do this. I'm sorry. I hope the echo's not that bad for everybody.
No worries.
The Boundaries are Discovery Park to Ord Bend on the Sacramento and up the Feather to the Live Oak Rockwall Dam.
Yeah, bring your own flip-flops and shorts for the Feather. Just give everybody a little more background. Again, I'll put the website up where people can sign up, because we got till Thursday to sign up for this thing. $10,000 first prize.
That's correct. Yeah, I guess I gotta go find a hard set if the echo is still real bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So on pause. I'll be right back.
Okay. So there he goes again. Let's see. We'll we're off to a rip roaring start as always. So anyway, big sturgeon. God, I don't know why I keep calling it sturgeon derby, striper derby. And when you're out there, be careful because the rivers are so low this year. My goodness gracious. Just pay attention to where we're going. Lots of snags and stuff sticking up, I'm sure. Feather, like I said, is so low that those of you who know Verona, you can walk from Verona Marina to the point where the sack and the feather come together. That's how low it is. And so it's pretty sketchy out there. I know somebody who floated a drift boat from Star Bend down to Verona. Let's see, here he is. What you got there? Oh, ooh, in the package. Just floated from Star Bend down to Verona and said there was not much going on. A lot of people fishing off the shore and waiting down there. This particular gentleman said they caught one fish, I think, but not a whole lot of action in that lower feather. So not sure where to send you for the derby. Anyway, he's gone again. So we're going to get to the salmon regs, and I think tomorrow is the day they get adopted, and James can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but we're getting real close to knowing the finals. And so let's hit a couple comments while we're sitting here. Vladimir says, hey, what's up, Vlad? Good to hear from you. Eric says, I know Santa Cruz local who's saying this was the best opener you've seeing in 10 plus years. What have you heard? I've heard the same thing. I heard it was really good down there. That's a good early season sign. The season for Santa Cruz, Monterey area is going to be much longer than the rest of the seasons up north. So we'll get into that. And then this will be the first we've talked to James about the inland waters, the rivers. So that'll be interesting too. And he's still running around. So anyway, here he's back. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Oh no. Vladimir says it best. Time to start up. Let's hit reset. Hey, everybody, welcome back. No. So anyway, Santa Cruz has been good. I haven't heard since the opener. I think they did real well the first several days. And I don't know if that's continued, but that's a good sign. Again, the northern ports are going to have a much less of a season. And the further north you go, the shorter the season is going to be because you start mixing in those Klamath River fish up there, which are, I guess, not having a good year this year. So that is going to be an issue. And other than that, we will again have this striper derby info, and then we got some boat ramp info for you too that James is going to be able to if he ever gets his cores untangled. I love it. So polished around here. It's awesome. Okay, can you hear me? Well, you got to plug it in first, of course. And drum roll. I can't hear you now. Oh, let's see. Are you on mute? Let's unmute Mike.
I'm on mute. Can you hear me now?
All right. No echo. Sweet. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the intro. Just kidding. So anyway, all right. So striper derby. Let's get to that. So how many? We've got roughly 150 entrants, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, I think as of right now, there's about 150. We've been getting a bunch in the last few hours. Striped Bass Derby is Calusa this weekend, April 17th and 18th. The cutoff date is April 15th, this Thursday, tax day at 8 p.m. No exceptions. We will not be taking entrance at the ramps. We will not be taking entrance on Friday. You have to get signed up. You've got you got about 49 hours. Yeah, you got to go to that website, ncgasa.org, and sign up, and you must be a member. Everyone must be a member and fishing in that same boat. We got a big fish prize, catch and release only on the big fish, male or female, catch and release only, fish over 30 inches. You can only bring male fish into the weigh station, and it's only one fish per person to weigh in, not two. we're erring on the side of conservation as much as we can and asking for catch and release. If you're not keeping your fish to eat and they're not within the slot limit, don't bring them to the scales. Anything over 3 inches over and under, don't bring it to the scales. You can release that fish, or if you're going to eat it, then by all means, if it's within the regulation. But we're going to try to, work on these measures as best we can for everyone that's involved. And we're really excited. We're going to have a blind bogey that's going to be within that 3 inches too on a random weight. I got a lot of sponsorships rolling in late, and we appreciate any and all support. If you want to be part of it, give us a call. And we need all the support we can right now to continue our fight to keep lobbying and working to try to fight for an FMP, a fisheries management plan, or some type of idealistic conservation measures that are going to help protect our striped bass from further decline. We feel that they're at the lowest numbers right now, and it's sad to say that we have to have a derby to raise money to fight for these species. But as a publicly trusted resource, they've been let down. Whether or not you agree or disagree, they're a native or a non-native 140-year resident or whatever.
They're common law native now.
They've been here longer than anybody on this YouTube video. So we feel that they're valuable to the recreational fishery, especially with a lot of our native fisheries completely declining. And so we're fighting to protect them. And, we're going to do that as best we can, because we know that there are many other stressors that affect salmonids more than striped bass.
Right.
And we've seen peak seasons of salmon with 2 to 3 times more striped bass than we currently have at today's numbers. And so somebody has to continually fight for them. We've got a coalition. I think everybody's on the same page from this coalition between charter fishermen, guides, recreational fishermen, Delta Bay, rivers, ocean. A lot of people want to see what we're working for and how we're bringing this new leadership forward on striped bass. And so thank you to any and all the support out there. And this Derby weekend is going to be to continue that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, before we get too sidetracked, to, when people tell me that striped bass are the cause of it, and I always tell them that we've had banner striped bass and banner salmon years at the same time. And if you had, say, stripers trending this way and salmon were trending that way, which they are, you might have an argument, but they're both going straight down. And so that speaks to a much larger problem, which we all know has to do a lot with water and all that. But anyway, before we go too crazy, again, right down there is the link if you want to sign up for the Derby. It's an online thing. If you have any questions, you can always, on the website there's a phone number. You can give us a call and we can help you out on that. So, okay, that's you want to jump into salmons?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever anyone wants to talk about tonight. I've got some time tonight, and we can talk about. We can do a lot of question and answers too, or whatever timeline you have.
Okay, so let's talk about what you got going on at PFMC as far as season. So tomorrow's the big day, right?
Tomorrow's final adoption. Yeah, we turned our seasons in, and our guidance from California delegate, the Ocean Fisheries Project leader, and that we work with all the time. He represents the department on the council seat, and produces the guidance in accordance with the way that we shape the seasons in the SAS. And his team is instrumental of, what happens on the PFMC SAS. I've just noticed a dynamic shift in the way that the tools that are given to us as the SAS were greatly appreciative. I mean, I can't tell you how great it is seeing what other states are giving their representatives as their SAS representatives, and seeing the tools that California has been giving to us is just it's night and day difference, and it makes you feel more professional, makes you feel more prepared. We're ready for the conversation, and they've been working with us. And so kudos to all of the staff out there, Brett Cormos' staff, Peter and Alex and Candace. You're all great, and Marcy, and many others. There's just a lot of great people that are fighting for giving us the opportunity for pleading our case when it comes to California-Oregon splits, which was the big dilemma this year, and negotiating how those splits would be divvied up between California and Oregon, because we share a lot of mixed stock fisheries.
Right. So, so the ocean, let's start with the ocean. Is everything kind of set the way we've been talking? I mean, have they made any changes? Is it what we have? Is that kind of what's going to be?
Yeah, I would say there's a few changes. I mean, I can read you the changes that we read into the system. I mean, I want to caution everyone, there's always a chance that this could change because something happens between tonight and tomorrow afternoon when the council process is finalized and adopted. But more than likely, this is the SAS guidance. We would have to be contacted, I believe, unless there was direct guidance from the state of California that superseded our guidance. But the guidance that we read in for the seasons would be the California KMZ to open on June 29th, one day later than alternative one, and it to close on August 1st, one day later. We had a lot of public testimony that asked for that season to end on a Sunday. So we moved one day in the beginning, June 29th to August 1st. So they got the same amount of days as alternative one. So that was the best that we could offer to the KMZ since the beginning, and we were able to hold through on that. So we're really happy for them.
Okay, so the KMZ, Klamath Management Zone, what are the boundaries of that?
That's going to be the new 4010 line on the south all the way to the Oregon border.
And where's 4010?
Well, it used to be the 4005, but there was a rule change line. I think that and that's where we were going to get into the parity. And I don't want to get too complicated because people will get confused. You can check your local regulations for all guidance. But there is a change on that line in between the KMZ, and it's the 45 and 4010. A lot of commercial trollers refer to it as the Hellowell line, and from Dave Hellowell, who suggested it. But it's an area where trollers can turn around better and fish better without getting into bad environmental conditions, to keep it brief.
And where do you know where that is roughly, that line?
If we were to look on a map, you want me to pull it up? I mean,
yeah, if you got it right there, just so people know. And so you're looking at basically a 1 month season for the KMZ guys, and that's all based on that low projection of the Klamath stocks, I guess.
Well, this is when I need one of my commercial guys on the phone to just say, "It's right here, James."
Well, that's okay. I mean,
you know it way better than I do. I don't fish up there, but
yeah, that's all right.
I bet somebody's watching on the comments. So if you're watching and you know the answer to this question, what town is basically what JD is asking is closest to that 4010 change?
Right. Okay.
I'm going to guess it's, it's obviously north of Fort Bragg, and it's south of Crescent City. So,
Eureka, yeah. So, all right, Eureka, well, that gives people, if they're fishing up there, they'll have to check. But
so that's that season's going to be June 29th is going to be the season opener, which is a Tuesday, and it's going to go through August 1st. And then in Fort Bragg, we needed parity in that zone because of this rule change that's happening on that boundary. And so that's what was recommended. So we are with June 29th as an opener in the Fort Bragg area to October 31st, moving 2 months into fall fisheries. So there's 2 months there in the fall, 20 inches on both of those zones. Okay. And then the San Francisco zone has moved forward a couple of days, and we were able to get San Francisco open for the Saturday opener in the San Francisco zone of June 26th to October 31st. Okay. So that's your only difference between San Francisco, Fort Bragg, and KMZ on the opener is 3 days. San Francisco will open on the 26th. And as everyone knows, Monterey is currently already open. They've been open since April 3rd. They will continue through April 30th with a 24-inch size limit. And then on May 1st, they go up to they go down to a 20-inch size limit on May 1st throughout September 30th. Okay. And they've got fall fisheries in September as well.
Yeah, so they have the longest season.
Monterey. And that's basically... A lot of people always wonder why that is. And, we hear public comment. And so if you want to reach out to us, you're more than welcome to, and we encourage that on the public process. But if you're from Southern California and you're wondering why some years we don't shape you a season, and then other years we give you a wide open season, it's all because of whatever the most constraining factor is in the model, the way the model reads. And this year, again, like last year, was the Klamath. And your impacts in the Monterey zone, the Klamath fish aren't down there enough when the fleet starts fishing down there in May, June, July, August. There are impacts in May with the commercial fleet, but after May, those impacts really start dropping off because the Klamath fish are leaving the Monterey area and they're headed back towards their natal waters.
Okay. All right. So there you have the ocean. Well, you got the stretch below there too, that right? There's one more zone down to the Mexican border.
No, that's it. Monterey is all the way to the Mexican border. Yeah. And then the commercial seasons, I've got those too, but it's a very constrained fishery for the commercial season. There's some time for them in May in Monterey zone. They'll open up in their May season. And then they've got a little time in Fort Bragg. And I believe it's, let me look real quick just to tell you, it's, they've got some time in Fort Bragg in August and fall fisheries in September. And they've got some time in June and July in San Francisco. Not many days, a couple of weeks in June and less than a week in July. But so the commercial fleet got hit very hard with this new model change.
Yeah, boy, that's tough. That's real tough. As Ryan Ash says, not enough to make a living, and that's exactly right. There's going to be a lot of our commercial brothers and sisters, I think, going out of business or having a real tough time. Now, Frank Emerson's asking real quick, how much commercial time in Monterey?
I could give you the exact seasons, Frank, that was put forth to the council today. Monterey season for commercials looking like May 1st to May 12th, 27 inches. May 20th to May 27th, 27 inches. June 16th to June 30th, 27 inches. July 17th to July 22, 27 inches, and August 1 to August 17, 27 inches. No fall fisheries, obviously, because of the winter run impact. But everyone in Monterey needs to remember that the winter run impact is what affects you the most. So if we have problems with the winter run, you're going to be affected in your ocean fishing time. If we have problems in the Klamath, you're probably going to be wide open fishing, and everyone up north in San Francisco, Fort Bragg will be affected. So next year, we already know the Klamath is probably going to be an issue again. So the sac could be an issue too with lower abundance. So we don't know yet, but only time will tell. And this is a process, and it's hard for people to try to jump to conclusions. And people have gut feelings, and a lot of times gut feelings are right, but it just takes time to work through this process, and we literally are getting through it right now. And next is the inland seasons from here.
Yeah, so let's shift to that. So what are we looking like in freshwater? What are they talking?
So we're looking at a Klamath river run of about 1220. If the model continues to read the way that it is, there still is some changes from Washington, I believe, on coho and the queets, and that will affect Oregon with making some final tweaks on the model about their dates and putting in some alternative dates that are impact neutral. That's why I feel pretty safe reading you what we read into the model today to the council, which is public information, but that could have to change ultimately. It's still a possibility. A final adoption is tomorrow, so you'll be able to get this printout to match what I'm telling you. But we'll see where that process goes. But if bearing that there are no changes, Oregon is supposed to stay impact neutral with their changes, and so we're going to meet the minimum floor escapement on the Klamath of 31,574 natural spawners.
I think that's one of the real things that people don't, I won't say don't understand, but probably just don't think about a whole lot is this is not just a California thing. These fish roam as far as Alaska, so there's impacts all up and down the line that you guys have to kind of factor in, and that's where things get, I imagine, really confusing. So what do you know the quota on the Klamath? I know early on they were talking maybe 1,200 sport fish.
Yeah, 1220 is going to be the number as of right now. Like I said, that number could alter, a fish here, a fish there, but it's going to be very close to 1220, if not 1220.
Okay.
Last year was 1286, and so I anticipate seeing a smaller river return than last year.
Yeah.
And on the Sacramento, if you were ready to pivot to the Sac.
Well, hang on one sec. What about,
Okay.
is that Klamath number including Trinity, or is the Trinity got a separate quota? Is that the whole Klamath Trinity Basin, 1,200?
That would be the entire river quota of 1220. So then you would break it down in percentages and then figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be less than 400 fish for you up top.
Yeah. They chop it up into sections. Okay, so Sacramento system. Let's chat the Big River.
Yeah, so more than likely we'll advocate on the Klamath, so for a one fish, one jack season again. Last year it was 23 inches. I doubt that's going to happen again because they claim we caught a bunch of adults because of that 1 inch move last year. So the iSource does simply state between 22 and 24 inches. That's all we asked the department, was being able to move it back and forth. But we're waiting to have that discussion with the new chief of fisheries, the acting chief, and the commission, hopefully next week, and have that discussion about that size, on how that affected, and see and look at the science and look at what happened. Our people that catch all of those fish, we're simply saying that those were all male jacks, 95% of them on the Klamath. And just as well as I do that we talked to the majority of the recreational guides that are out there and on the waterway every year, and can tell us what they're seeing and what other people are catching. And it seemed like there was a lot of those male jacks caught last year. And so we really want to talk to the department about that, because if they're killing those fish at the hatchery and euthanizing them, and they don't believe that they contribute to spawning escapement, then we have a major problem with, we got a major problem with it, Sorry to say, but if you're going to tell us that these fish are useless and kill them and ship them off, then I'm going to advocate to catch them and give opportunity to anglers.
Absolutely.
You're going to protect our runs and make them spawn in the river as we request, as they should be, and protect the publicly trusted resource, whether it's hatchery or it's natural spawning.
Yeah.
Then we will advocate for a more conservative measure. But we have to use common sense logic here, and this is happening on the Klamath just like the Sacramento. It's really negligent on the Feather River.
Yeah. So, if you want to, we're always pimping this, but if you want to learn more about what's going on with our hatchery fish, here's a little hint. A lot of them die, and go.
We got a spelling error there too, just so you know.
Really?
Unspawned. Not unspanned on.
Well, we could fix that. Yeah, good eye. Yeah, I was a journalism major.
You never know what country you were in though when you were making that. So
that's right.
World
okay, so SAC system, what do we got going?
I apologize. We have been so busy with the way that the system has been constrained by the Klamath. I never even looked at the SAC because we knew that it would be over 122,000. That was the guidance from National Marine Fisheries Service. A lot of you know that our organization wrote a letter and asked for an increased escapement this year. We were denied that request. We were told that, by many different people, many different opinions, and many different people with facts and science were telling us that we're wrong, and that 137,000 came back last year and we caught 16,000. We said there wasn't more than 100,000 fish in those rivers, and we didn't catch anything more than 7,000 if we were lucky. And we spend a lot of time analyzing these stats. We don't just come up with them out of thin air. We spend, I mean, literally hundreds of hours communicating with guides and communicating with recreational fishermen. And we know many rec fishermen that came down and stay in Sacramento, that talked with you, JD, and Bob Spar, that from Vieras and Rio Vista, and stayed for 20, 30, 40 days and fished every day and caught less than a dozen fish. And they're great anglers that normally, you know, bag a lot of salmon. And those salmon just weren't there. So hopefully we're wrong. And I hope that everyone calls and tells me that we're wrong. And that'll be a good thing for all of us. So it's a win-win then. If we're wrong, it's a win-win for everyone. But if we're right, we're in trouble. And with thiamine deficiency coming back as the variable that nobody knows about the true effects on the mortality inland in 2019, which is our returning run, we don't know. And we keep advocating this, but no one wants to have this discussion. But we keep saying that in 2019, it was also the year that we reduced hatchery production on the fall run by 33%.
Wow.
Shocker. And, you know, the year before we raised the 2 million extra fish because the Orville spillway.
Yep.
And there was the million fish that went directly to Fort Baker that has the best return numbers right now when you start looking at the new Codewire tag information. Now, I will say kudos again to CDFW Ocean staff. They just 18 reports done. And we should start seeing all of that data coming out in the next coming weeks, and 2019 report by the end of the year. So they're caught up, and they're delivering a lot of information to the salmon nerds, or the salmon nuts, or the salmon professionals, or the salmon people, whatever you want to call us, that really analyze and are willing to spend hundreds of hours, or are being paid to spend hundreds of hours to analyze documents, trends, release strategies. And we're really excited about that. And there's great news coming for the release strategies this year because of this data that is coming out on the Codewire tags. So thank you to the staff for doing that. And thank you for all of the reports. It helps.
Yeah. A lot of stuff to sift through, isn't there?
There really is. It's way too much for any one person, 10 people, to be honest with you. I mean, the amount of reports and science that's out there just on Central Valley could honestly take one person a good solid, 10, 20 years to read everything, honestly, from this point. There's study upon study upon study to read on any topic.
By the time you got through it all, it's all outdated.
It is.
So you didn't get the full info on the valley, but we can expect kind of a similar. I mean, they're not.
Let me check it. Let me check it real quick.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
It's that easy. I think you can still hear me. You just can't see me, or maybe you still can see me.
I can see you.
Okay. I'm running the model right now on my computer for the Sacramento.
Okay, cool.
So it looks like we're going to get 133,913 fish, is what the summary output would be. And because of cool technology, we can, share something like this with everybody.
Nice.
Which is really nice. It's been part of our negotiating tools that we have done with the other states and working with them, and it's worked out really, really well. So I just sent it to your email address, and it's on its way, just an input file, so that you can see kind of what we see from the SAS and members of the public that join us with the PFMC and working along this process. I mean, it's model so that you can actually see what goes into it. And that's why they have a whole team of professionals, the STT, the Salmon Technical Team, and all their job is to do is it's led by geniuses and people that are highly sophisticated scientists and mathematicians and analysts, and I don't know what other degrees they might have, but they're very qualified people to analyze all of this information, and they're very helpful to all of the states to understand how the model works, how it shifts, effort shift back and forth, and so on and so forth. So
cool. Let's see if I can upload that really quick here. Where is that? We're doing this.
Yeah, so it looks like 133,000 fish are going to come back to the sack, because just like last year, remember, that what I highlighted there, 133,913 spawners will come back. But then you look up 4 columns up and it says 155. So you take the 15% river harvest rate. Actually, it dropped now to 14% in the new model. Historically, it was 15 in the old model. Now they average it on 14%. And when you see that, the river harvest is estimated, adults is supposed to be 21,800. And you look above that, that makes the total river run 155,713. So that's how many fish we should have come back into the river, plus jacks. So plus 2-year-olds that get lost. And on any given year, we always want more than 10,000 jacks. So right. If it's going to be a halfway decent, okay, if things look good for next year, we should see 168,000 river run plus. That would tell us that we've got more than 10,000, 13,000 jacks is the number they look for next year. And that tells us, okay, we're going to be okay next year, more than likely, as long as we meet spawning escapement from the year before. And there's many other metrics. There's not just one that goes into this model, but I think that's enough information to explain.
So based on this, it's not looking like a banner year, that's for sure. And then, so we have river harvest. They're forecasting at that 14%, 21,000. They say we got 14,000 last year. Is that what the number was?
Yeah, they said 16,000, I think, at the meetings. I think that number was getting analyzed and we disagreed with it. But I think they said it's 16,000 adults we harvested last year. And I know that most of the full-time guides that catch 400 to 700 salmon a year when fishing's good. Those guys didn't catch, over 100 salmon this year. So it just, especially same with the recreationals. It's not just guides. It was everybody. I mean, people didn't even go. Effort goes way down. And that's what the department knows, is that on years like this, when it's low water, tough bite, not a lot of fish, people don't want to go fishing.
Yeah.
People don't buy fishing licenses. People don't come to tourism in our towns, and they don't come to stay in Sacramento, Sutter, Yuba, Butte, Glenn, Tehama, Shasta counties. Yep. So you're losing economical impact there. We try to mention this to our board of supervisors in those counties, and we have direct conversations with many of them and send emails and letters, which, some make progress and others don't. And we continually try to keep fighting for you guys all on those issues too. But, we gotta get this river return back. Our estimates is that a good season is 250,000 adult escapement, which you add the 15% on that, 37,000 means that river run should be double that. That 155 needs to be 310, north of 300,000. And that way you've got a good river recreational fishery. And then you've got 250,000 spawning. Now, putting my hat on as an ocean guy, if I was just being an ocean guy and I never fished inland, I would say, man, it's pretty hard for me to want to send fish back in the model into that river where they're going to have lethal temperatures. They're going to get dewatered. And if they go into the hatchery and make a wrong turn, they're going to get the old on top of the head and up to Washington and go for sale or turned into dog food.
Canadian fisheries.
Yeah. And it's just, so those are, again, common sense, common sense. I mean, let's just go back to managing these fish with some common sense. It's a put and take fishery in the Sacramento.
Yep.
Klamath is a different animal. But these dams aren't going anywhere. We're gonna continually have water issues. We're in a big drought right now, and we're gonna have problems. But I don't know. Let's make a gentleman's wager. Do you think we're gonna get 133,913 spawners back this year, JD?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay, I can't take that bet.
I hate to be glasses 2/3 empty, but it's just we've been trending in the wrong direction for so long that it's hard not to bet on the side of gloom and doom.
Yeah,
especially with well, I guess the flip side to that, just for argument's sake, is unfortunately the commercial harvest is going to be way down. Sport harvest in the ocean should be down too, just because of limited seasons. So maybe that equates to more coming back, but I don't know. And that's I guess good for us in the river, but that's not the way we want to get our fish, right? We want everybody to be catching fish. So we don't, it doesn't feel right when, maybe we're catching a few extra fish because other people were restricted. So that's not solving the problem. And I've heard, and we'll get to some questions here. I see we got people lining up, but I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, just close it for a few years." And well, we did that for 08 and 09.
Not going to change things. I mean, the biologists and scientists will advocate that natural spawning fish in the Sacramento and the Feather and the American River will outproduce any hatchery in the world just by Mother Nature if you give her the right conditions. If you give her the right water and habitat for the fish to spawn, they will outproduce any hatchery. They'll raise hundreds of millions of babies. The reason they raise hundreds of millions is because survival is normally lower. However, with the current conditions that our rivers are in, as well as including water quality and flow, we cannot count on the natural spawn any longer. And this has been proven because ever since 2003, when we saw more demand from water and we saw the shift in political water shift towards the south of the Delta, we started seeing a huge decline. We saw the collapse of the fishery, and all the ocean groups could do to keep themselves from going bankrupt in 2008 and 2009 was advocate for the federal and state government to move fish into net pens and move fish further west to increase survival, to get them out of the lethal, fatal temperatures. And so they saved the fishery. It should have been collapsed and never came back. The only reason we even still have a fishery, in my opinion, for the most part, and these fish aren't fully listed, is because they move the fish further west. But then you have environmental groups advocating that those fish stray more and go into other streams and affect wild fish. And so if we want to go down that rabbit hole, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's where we're at. We're at environmental groups suing the department for having fish stray into random streams and not push them out to survive the sublethal temperatures. Yeah. And we have the salmon groups now saying, please take our hatchery fish out there because we have no natural spawning fish. Right. They've been killed for the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. We're never going to have the water for them. So why fight it? Let's just raise more fish and let's move them out to the ocean and start studying where are the best places to put them in the West Bay, Richmond, Sausalito, Fort Baker, direct releases, Pillar Point, and find ways that we can do the minimal impact, but still keep people from and communities from being destroyed. Yeah. I mean, let's take all of the commercial and guides and charter boats out of this. Just talk about the publicly trusted resource and the fact that you as a Californian taxpayer should be able to go catch a salmon in the ocean or in the river or in the bay because that's a resource and we've mismanaged it. And so anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah. Well, we're let's take some questions before we go there. Sure. I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole for just a second. So let me give y'all some background here. So these environmental groups, one of the things that they're concerned with is if we're releasing, like they stopped some releases at Bodega Bay because they were concerned, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I've got this right. They were concerned that those, and we're talking fall run Chinook, would venture up creeks like Paper Mill and Pescadero and all those creeks kind of between, say, Tomales Bay and San Francisco Bay. And they were concerned that these hatchery fish that were releasing right there would find their way up those creeks. Now, okay, so maybe that's what you learn in a book, but here's what you learn lifetime tromping around salmon rivers. So first of all, Chinook and coho run at a different time, so the coho are going to come in later. So there's not going to be any interbreeding or anything like that.
Or superimposition.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Spawning on top of each other and digging up each other's reds. And then most of those little streams aren't really Chinooky. They're more coho based anyway. And, the Chinook will come in, just say they spawn in Lagunitas Creek or whatever it is. Again, there's not going to be much superimposition because they're, they use different parts of the river, different timing. And so I'm not sure that I really see what the big problem is there. But anyway, let's get to some questions. How about that? This is what we're dealing with, folks. We're dealing with some ideologies that aren't really based in
no water on one side and no fish on the other.
Yeah.
We're just trying to find somewhere to go.
Find a
little bit of water, just a little bit, please.
Yes.
And raise more fish.
Okay, so let's get to the questions and comments. The Intimidator, Mike Graver checking in. Keep up the good fight. Thanks, Mike. I think he moved, didn't he? I think he's no longer in California. I think he got out.
Yeah, I think we lost him too, and he was a full timer too. It's it's sad. We lost a lot of people this year. Our industry might be at that breaking point, and I hope I'm wrong. We're going to keep fighting, but as long as we have enough people to support us and keep fighting, we're going to keep fighting. But yeah, we're feeling it. And as a once biologist said, he said, we always knew that the river would feel it first when we felt the collapse. And it's like, well, we've been feeling it for 7 years. This isn't good.
So low flows are the one to blame, bottom line. Yep. That's fish need water. There's a million problems, but if we had an endless supply of cold water, a lot of our problems would take care of themselves.
I also want to say, Ryan, that we have a lot of problems with single species management with the winter run and the way that the federal government manages the winter run, because that creates a lot of red dewatering. So years that we have successful spawning, we're killing our own progeny because we're not protecting the fall run because they have zero protection. So I agree with you, low flows. However, there's a lot of water factors that could be tweaked a little bit here and there to benefit them.
Yep. And in the winter run's case, so we get fish that spawn in the upper end of the sack there in the fall, and then
late summer.
And then they dewater the reds because they are saving water for the winter run, correct?
They're protecting the eggs that are laid in the gravel from the winter run because they're an endangered species. And so these are in the main stem, excuse my dog, these are in the main stem between Keswick and, Battle Creek for the most part, or 44 Bridge for the most part. But most of them are all the way up at the top, and they try to spawn below Keswick Reservoir, and those fish are protected by ESA protections. So they have to have 56 degree water. Yeah. And they have to protect them until the last baby egg hatches. Yep. And if that happens November 8th, and by this time we've already got all the fall run moved in September and October and spawn next door to the winter run reds, where the water's high, keeping that cold water, because we're fighting for that cold water to protect these fish. Now your water's here, fall run spawn. Oh, winter runs are all protected. We're good to go. zero protections, and now everything that spawned out here is now dead. And that's what happens year after year. And they're aware of it. We've asked them, and they just said, we have to protect the endangered, this endangered hatchery fish, this winter run. I mean, it's a hatchery fish, you guys.
Another rabbit hole.
Another argument, another day.
Yeah. No, let's keep going. Mike Graver. Yep, nothing. Yeah, so he's out. I think he went to South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere out there. So we'll miss you, Mikey. Always good seeing you out here at the shows and on the river.
We will
Mark Ortega, who I just saw looking at the picture. Yep. Thanks for this. You got to tell me, Mark, he was out. He was on I did I don't know, yesterday at the time. Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. A donation trip for Golden State Salmon Association that he graciously bought and donated to. So we were out yesterday on Pyramid. So let me know how those trout tasted. I'm curious. I've never eaten one. Kenny Priest, our man in the north. KP, lucky to have that big of a quote on the Klamath, honestly. I think you're right there. Kenny says also it was $12.96 in 2020, so about the same. And he's answering some of the questions. Yeah, basin wide is when I was asking, is that Klamath and Trinity? And yes, that is. Let's see. What is this? Swinging. I hate these names because they're all, no spaces.
Well, yeah, it's the hashtag, and we're old, so
yeah, that's right. Swinging Dirty Rods TV. What's up, guys? I missed y'all. Well, what's up?
Going on?
Good to see you. Let's see. Jason Watson wants to know Gold Beach looks this summer. I know.
Yeah, I could tell you. I don't know the
good
numbers
at all this year, so.
I mean, I could tell you what their seasons are. Let me look in the file.
You dive into that. Hang tight, Jason. We'll get back to that while he's.
I'm ready.
Oh, geez, wow.
It's the KO and the Oregon KMZ is in the recreational fisheries June 12th to June 18th. And I think there's a coho fishery June 19th to August 15th, and then back to Chinook, I believe, August 16th to the 28th. But so you got a June 12th opener, it looks like right now, to August 28th. June 12th to August 28th, 24 inches. And there's a coho fishery in there. But again, that could change. I don't want to give you specific guidance that that's going to happen because Oregon is making changes. Tomorrow on the council floor. They did not make any changes that I saw today, but I'm pretty sure they're making changes tomorrow according to what happens up in Washington with the Queets and the coho split is what I was told. So we'll see what happens.
Well, there you go, Jason. Stand by. Tomorrow sounds like you'll know more. Who is the acting? Is it Roger Bloom?
It is Jay Rowan, who is the old hatchery manager and was in charge of all the hatcheries. He has been put in charge of the acting fisheries chief. Congratulations to him. And I've already had a conversation with him briefly this last week, congratulating him. And he started his new position on April 12th, and he will be taking over that role, and I believe his current role as well, until they go through the hiring and application process. The last time we had a fisheries chief change was Kevin Schaefer in for Stafford Lear. And many of you know that he was the interim and he ended up getting the job. But that took almost 11 months, I believe. So this process can take a while. So I believe we'll be working with Jay for sure in the short future and looking forward to a positive working relationship for all the sportsmen and women in Northern California.
Are there any names in the hat yet? Do you know of?
Not that I've heard. I don't even know if they've flown the job. I don't even think they've legally flown the job yet. So.
And the acting chief, everybody, this is the chief of inland fisheries, who is the person who's the czar of all things inland. So anyway, let's see, Jordan, some scary stuff. Hope to hear about the Sacramento River soon. Yes. Well, I think we probably got to that since you've asked that, I'm assuming, because we're kind of behind on the questions here. Mark, do they have any? Well, yes, Yes, they do. There's some things that make you scratch your head too. So, there's some really good people there, and that are doing all they can and doing the right thing and trying to. I think Brett Cormos, just comes to the top of my head right now, and Stafford's always fighting for us, and so there's people there. Yes, some of the stuff does make you just go, huh, but. And some of it does defy common sense, but then some of the stuff that seems ridiculous, and I don't want to go too far down this, but there's stuff that it's kind of beyond our comprehension on the outside world, that they're so constrained with lawsuits and regulations and just mandates and all this stuff. So some of the stuff, you go, why are you doing that? And you go, oh, okay, I guess I see why you're doing that. When you get to talk to them, it doesn't necessarily make sense to us, but there's more rhyme and reason to it than I think we think. Does that make sense?
I always say that if you've got a cancer, you got to cut it out and you get rid of it, and hopefully we can cut out some of the cancer that is against raising more hatchery fish, and some of the cancer that's hurting the population. I don't know what it can hurt at this point. I mean, people call me day in and day out. It's like, what are you gonna hurt? You've been letting these fish go for decades and decades and decades.
We're at rock bottom. I mean,
we're at rock bottom. I mean, this is a last ditch effort before many of us try to move, and save our families. And you're still going to have a few fish, but we're managing to the minimum right now. We can't keep managing to the minimum. We've got to up our levels and our game, and realize that we're dealing with hatchery stocks now. And are we going to swallow that? Are we going to accept that we are not going to have natural spawning fish anymore?
We don't have the habitat. I mean, come on, when are we going to get to that? But we've beaten that horse over and over. James, to answer your question here, the supplement comes out after the book is published.
That's because of this process right now that we just finished today. That's why, right. Because they print the book in December for you so that you can buy the fishing license for your loved one at Christmas and give them the fishing regulation book. But then you have the PFMC council process, which affects halibut, rockfish, groundfish, salmon.
Yeah. So that's what's in the supplement. So that's why that comes out. But that's a fair question, Jay.
Good question, yeah.
Let's see. Fort Baker releases return. Oh, he's trying to. Here's his.
They do, and the argument is the stray rate is higher, Mark, at Fort Baker. However, the survival rate supersedes the value of that stray rate. Yeah, so like JD just said, you have to teeter-totter that and say, well, we have a way better survival, and so the return number, the end number that returns to the feather, is higher. Rumor has it we're going to do multiple Fort Baker releases this year because of no drought, no water, no flow in many of our hatcheries. So we're thankful. Thank you for protecting our fish, because you let them go in the river right now, they're going to die. And I wish I could do a screen share myself. Can you make me screen share, or can I do that? I have that option.
What do you got?
Well, I mean, if you wanted me to do a screen share like really quick, what I could do is just show the fish study that we just did just the other day, which was from Scotty's down, and how those fish survived. I mean, it's we could go really quick.
Give us the cliff notes, maybe. Just you got
So, I mean,
this was part of just to back people up. This is part of the first year of a pilot study on what the Fish and Game has determined that the losses in the upper sac when they release fish out of Coleman are so high that we wanted to do a little let's truck them down a little bit downriver. And there you go. Yeah, it's sharing.
Did that work?
Yeah.
All right. So this was the Calfish Track program, and I'll go real fast. You can go to this website, just take it down, or JD, maybe you can I can
Boy,
I can
that's a
probably
lot.
send that to you too, but that's the website that everyone can go to, and this is a public website. This was a study that we participated in. Dick Poole had an idea 8 years ago, according to science, that said that Chinook salmon were dying in the Sacramento River in the upper 100-mile stretch before they even encounter stripers, catfish, birds, many other predators, before they even hit the Delta Cross Channel, before they hit Georgiana, before they get to the Delta. And so what this project did was we moved 186,000 fish that let go up at Coleman and went down the river. And then we trucked 186,000 downstream to Butte City. And when we did the downstream release at Butte City, there was 300 acoustic tags that ping live. This is live right now. And you can watch this every day and check up on it. And we released 300 with acoustic tags up at Coleman. And this was a GSSA program and suggestion, and they offered NorCal guides to help out with it. And we did, and we've been partners since 2018 on the study program on this, and we've been working hard to set up release sites and work with everyone, and it's been a great success, I think, and just learning things. And so what we did was, when you look at the real-time ping, if you can zoom in on that, JD, when you look at the real-time ping at Butte City, we let go 186,000 fish right here at the river, right? And if those fish were released right here, I mean, literally less than a mile upstream, and 300 of them to here, and only 136 pinged here. And you got to remember, there's another 300 that were released upstream. So that's out of 600 possible.
Wow.
Out of 375,000 fish, you extrapolate it. Well, when you start coming downstream, as they come through
that was in the
Calusa,
first mile.
yeah, they
like
all died. Yeah, and there
half.
was no stripers up there.
Right.
None. When we release these fish on those dates, I'll go through as fast as I can. As they hit Sacramento Tower Bridge, 82 are left.
Wow.
Now they're starting to run into stripers and other predators, birds, anything else, lights underneath the bridges where they hang out under the lights and birds get them, cormorants, many other type of predators, not just stripers. 56 before they hit West Sacramento. And now we're going to hit the Delta Cross Channel, the big killer.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And then you hit the big killer, the Delta Cross Channel, and then you also hit right south of the Delta Cross Channel,
Georgiana.
Good old Georgiana. Yep. Let me zoom out a little bit and go a little bit.
For those of you guys who don't know about Delta Cross Channel and Georgiana, those are two sloughs that divert water from the Sac side into the central and southern delta so it can get to the pumps easier. And so fish, and it's on the outside of a bend right there too, just both of them. So especially, that low where you are right now, Georgiana, those fish just end up, they're getting pushed to that side by the current on the way down, and it just sucks them out into the delta. And if you scroll down a little bit,
keep in mind the Delta Cross Channel is closed right now to pumping to Southern California because of the protections in place from the ESA listings. So till about May 1st. So that's why they try to get our salmon out from the hatchery in river before that date so that they can turn that corner and not get sucked out here. Because if you go this route or if you go this route, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. And as you know, only 12 made it this far. But here's the interesting thing. Now you look at your pings in the eastern South Delta. And if you go down the wrong turn up here in Walnut Grove, you end up in this eastern delta in the McCallamy and San Joaquin system. Luckily, in this study, 0 ended up this way. But we will tell you, in reality, the majority of the fish end up down in here a lot of the times. Not always, but a lot of the times. The final part of the study, the last tag point, is here at the Carquinez Bridge in Benicia, Martinez.
Wow, the survival was amazing from
isn't that amazing? Yeah, very cool.
Because there was 12 up above, right?
Yeah, 12 up above. And so we're hoping that 12 made it out. When you take 12 and you calculate it by the 300, and then you compare that to the 186,000 that were released, it extrapolates to about or expands, I guess is the word, it would be 7,440 fish. So out of that 186,000 that we let go of Butte City, 7,440 made it past Benicia and Carquinez. You can start looking at all these graphs and information that's put out there. The estimates of survival from Butte City was 63% to a certain point. How far all the way down into the system? How many got eaten by Georgiana? You can go through the slides. How much diversion? The rooting probabilities of Georgiana that we lost 26% of the fish. You could start looking at all of the different things, but the minimum survival, the rate 2% out of all fish made it to Benicia Bridge. And so now you start analyzing that we've got issues with survival rates. Yeah. How many for all releases, for all detections so far? Now this is still going, but the Butte Bridge, out of 600, only 136 made it down to the Butte City Bridge. So that means in the first 105 miles, we're losing the majority of the fish.
So what's going on up there? The squawfish or what?
Well, you've got squawfish, and you've also got, on top of that, you've got water temperatures, water quality, flows, and derived nutrients. There's no feed. There's no dead carcasses. We don't have natural spawning salmon anymore. We don't have them dying. We don't have the trout population we used to. We don't have the steelhead population we used to. And we think a lot of this is because our fish keep coming back to the hatchery and they get bonked out of the head and removed from the system. So we're not giving back to that system. And that could be a reason that we have high mortality. Could be a reason. Yep. I'm not the scientist, remember, but I've got a little common sense and a little knowledge, and so do you. Yep. But anyway, I'll get off of that and
fascinating. That was cool.
Just leave that there. And I'm sorry for taking up part of your program for that, but I think it's a really great study, and we're really honored to be part of that with Dick Poole, John McManus, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife on that. And we'll do one more year with that. It's a 3-year study. Something that we're advocating for also is a reintroduction plan of natural spawners with Coleman Hatchery, raising more fish, releasing them on gravel bars early in their juvenile periods, way before they're a smolt, more like fry, so that we can get those fish repopulated, reintroduced to the areas that used to have natural spawning salmon, to give them a chance. If you're going to kill them on the reds and you're not going to give them the water they need, you have to mitigate for that. And we have to start doing solutions that are different from what we've been doing, because it doesn't work.
It's not working. Absolutely. All right. Well, that was really interesting, actually.
Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Thanks for that. James Kramer, how's Pyramid Lake doing, JD? It's been doing very well. Thank you. I'm going to say July 16th for this, probably.
July 16th will probably more than likely be the date. We're going to start the conversations on Thursday after adoption tomorrow with the department and next week. And I anticipate the department saying it's a normal season, 122,000. We're not in overfish status. And the FMP will suggest that it's a 2-fish limit. And the suggested ocean harvest has already been suggested by the Management Council of 21,800. So I think you're going to have a normal salmon season. It's just not going to be tons of abundance of fish.
Yeah. Requiring a salmon card for the whole. I think he forgot to finish his sentence there, JJ Brown. We do not have salmon cards for anything down here in the valley. You have to have them on the Klamath, Trinity, and Smith. What's the in-river production? I think we got to that, Kenny, didn't we? You probably asked that a while ago, but if not, you know how to get a hold of James. Then Bob Spar, our legendary guide of the 80s.
There he is.
Says no.
I know what the answer to that is. Are we going to get 133,913 fish back this year?
I was trying to remember what the question was. Yeah.
I guarantee that's what the no was. And Bob, if I'm wrong, I'll buy Thai food for lunch.
Glass of half is 9/10 empty.
Right. A lot of my common sense comes from that man. He's very educated on this system.
He's the The voice of reason. Okay, requiring a card for salmon like steelhead card was shut down. Any of those scientists say about the number of fish they think were hard? That's an interesting point. That's the flaw to that is the fact that people may or may not actually fill them out accurately. So that's
the margin of error. Margin of error is a huge concern. But on top of that, when we pull the fishermen, and we thought that was a great idea too, and we actually suggested to CDFW, if we did a Central Valley salmon card, we would do it as fishermen and guides. However, we want all that money used to raise more fish in the hatchery, because that's something that people would get behind. We'll pay more money as long as we're getting more fish guaranteed.
Right.
But if without more fish and just more regulations and more
paperwork
rules and less fish and more studies, that's not going to work for the average fisherman. And
you're going to get the old from the fisherman. Okay, let's burn through some more of these so we won't keep you guys all night long. Cali Adventures, our water supply this year. Yeah. No.
Good comment. True.
True. It doesn't matter how many we do get back, they're going to say, well,
hey, Jacob, you're ready to be on the board.
You're catching on, my man.
You're ready to run for board, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Yep, that's right. That's how we feel. Yeah, it's I'll make one comment on that. I'll just say that it's I have a real issue with the Department of Water Resources, who regulates water for the state of California, being the ones who count the salmon on the Feather River and tell us how many we got back. And then everybody just saying, okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. And there is oversight. I'm being a little sarcastic. However, it would be nice if wildlife and fisheries issues were handled by CDFW directly and not staff. Department of Water Resources has their own fisheries division, their own full division. It's redundancy. It's they've got biologists and everything. I mean, I don't know how many jobs total, but it's a lot. And all their job is to do is do their own science and create their own studies and find grant money to do more studies. And there are some great studies. I don't have to tell you, you did all of the ones.
Yeah, there's good people over there for sure, but
there's great people, but we're being redundant. We need to focus on some things.
And I think the issue there with that is the biologists over there are, they care about the river, they want to do the right thing, but they can hand some info, and they've told me this, and we tell them what's wrong, the powers that be up above their heads, and they're kind of like, yeah, whatever, we're doing this. And so it's frustrating for them too, because they're studying and doing the right thing and showing the information that they're gathering out there, and it just falls on deaf ears.
Well, I'm gonna say one more thing, and here's where people get heartburn, and many of you don't know this, and I don't know how many we have watching live. How many people are watching right now? Any?
I don't know, 50 something.
Okay, well, hi everybody. Well, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to know why they have information about the spring run, look at that guy next to me in that picture. And people don't know this, but they went out there and tried to catch him. They couldn't do it. They couldn't get the tags in them to get enough fish tagged. They couldn't catch them. They physically didn't know what to do. So they called an expert in. They called JD Ritchie, and they hired him to do a job. And he did his job and caught these fish and tagged them so that we could get them back opened again for all of us. And good people that he did the study with handed this information up to people that control the water.
Yeah.
And DWR sold us out. I mean, they sold us out. They lowered the mitigation from 5 million springers down to 1 million this year. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joke. And so, you know what? We appreciate everything you did for years. All of those studies. Thank you to you, JD. I mean, people don't know that.
Yeah.
But this is the truth. And this is why we get salty. Is that
salty,
we get a little salty because people have been fighting for decades for you and to do the right thing and work with the government, and then we get turned against. So anyway, sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. I like
tell the truth.
I like the saltiness. Any tips on trolling the sack with a drift boat since the American yeah, it's doable. You can send me an email or something and I'll fill you in on that. I assume you're talking for salmon, but
I'm only allowed one boat in the driveway. Married life. I like that.
Yep. That's why I became a guy. Now my wife can't say anything about how many boats I have.
Right.
Mark says wild fish where? Yep. Point well taken.
Yeah.
Does anybody want an almond? Yes. A little water humor there. Our man Intimidator says he's still here till 15th. So, good. So if you guys want to go striper fishing, make sure he's probably booked, but check him out. Let's see. May I ask why they won't just build a fish ladder on Shasta Dam? Well, they have actually done studies on all that. And the issue about getting fish around these big canyon rim dams, I mean, you don't need a fish ladder. You could put them in a truck. Whoosh. And drive them around or whoosh them. Yeah, whoosh them.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. And so the issue is, well, there's a lot of issues, but the main one is getting your juveniles back down over the dam and through the lakes, and talk about getting through bass and brown trout and whatever else going to eat them. But it's hard to get those juveniles back over Shasta Dam. They have a thing called the gulper, which is this, I don't know, it's like a $50 million machine or something, or maybe it's more than that, 500 million. Not real cost effective. And then the other issue is a lot of those, actually above Shasta, there's some pretty good habitat, but above Oroville, there's a billion dams. Above Englebright, you have a lot of little dams, and then you have Bullard's Bar. Above Folsom, you have Clementine Dam. You have, so there's not a lot of habitat that they could reach. So that's the short version, but that's a good question, Northwest Fishing 101. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to go lightning round here. Matthew Oliva. Hey, JD and James, tuning late. How are you? Good. What's up, Matthew? Thanks for tuning in. This is a question. You want to talk rabbit holes. My man Prinzo. So when does the fall run become endangered?
That's the scary thing right there. That's a rabbit hole for another conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, it could very well, very quickly. And if it does, then no more fishing for anyone.
Yeah, it's bad. That's bad news. That's bad juju. You won't hear us from this group suggesting that, but we're doing everything we can to fight for more fish to prevent that.
Right. If one of the major dams in California would be to remove, would that help or hurt the fishery? Well, that's a case-by-case thing, Brian. They're talking about Klamath Dam removal, 3 or 4 of them up in the upper end. And so we'll see what happens there. I mean, generally, I think, as a basic concept, yes, that helps a fishery. But, in the case of the Klamath, we're not sure. I mean, we hope it helps, but you may have lower, warmer water in the river because you don't have the dam. So,
and you still have a dam up at the top. Let's not forget that up in Oregon.
Right.
And so that's going to be a limiting factor. And I really want to see what's going to happen. And the director decided to lower hatchery production and remove Iron Gate hatchery because it costs too much to put into maintenance. And so rather than defer that maintenance and spend, excuse me, my dog.
So
I'll just yell at the Labradors, quiet. In order for Iron Gate to keep functioning, it would require millions of dollars of upkeep, to my understanding. And so the director and staff have recommended, well, we could lower hatchery production from 6 million and move it down to Fall Creek to 2.6 million. And we wouldn't have to put as much money into the infrastructure. And since Pacific Corp is only responsible for paying for mitigation for 8 more years, our department was unwilling to pay for the millions of dollars of needed upgrades to Iron Gate hatchery to keep it operational for the next 8 years. And so they've decided to lower hatchery production by 60%, down to 2.6 million. So these dams are coming out, but what's going to repopulate them?
Well, and just to just to fill you all in on it in case you haven't figured it out. We're seeing it right now, trouble with fishing. I mean, the seasons all the way down to San Francisco are being reduced because of Klamath influence. And if we continue to have poor, if they're going to reduce the hatchery plants on the Klamath by that much, guess what? Fishing in San Francisco is going to be impacted, and in the valley and all that.
Monterey, you'll still be okay. So as long as the sack still has some fish.
They should extend the season so I can catch 2 salmon instead of 1. Yeah, no kidding. Here's where Intimidator is going. He's going to Lake Chickamauga, Chimichanga, Dayton, Tennessee. Nice. Cool. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to go out and go fish with you. Connor says I need to move to Alaska. Sad. Well, I tell you what, Connor, things are not the greatest up there either. We're
noticing a lot of West Coast similarities between all of the states, even some with Alaska.
Yeah. Matthew, since I turned, we didn't discuss in-river harvest too much in Bag Lips because that hasn't been fully established, but I think
regular season is more likely going to happen. Yeah. And the new party boat fishing, it's scheduled in May to go in front of the Wildlife Resource Committee. So that will be the next discussion in public. Yeah. It's got a few more public meetings to go through, Matthew. I don't expect anything till 2022, 2023. It's working with the government and the public process.
It's like molasses. That's all right. I only use fish counters at the mouths of the rivers, like on the Kenai. That would be interesting.
I'll be right back.
Yep. One of the issues with that is, you're talking about sonar counters like they have on the Kenai and then Nushagak and places up north in Alaska like that. But one of the issues is we have a lot of species, and those counters. It gets hard to differentiate between striped bass and salmon and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm sure it's just a cost thing too. So, we'll keep rolling. Just tuned in. Thanks. You bet. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going through all these. Oh, he's back. He's back. Oh, look who we got.
No, we got little Justin.
What's up, Justin?
Saying hi.
How was baseball, dude? How'd you do the other day?
How was baseball? Did you do good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I saw
you.
Cool.
Second base in his first minors. He walked.
Nice. Looking good in the Angels uniform.
Yeah, he likes it.
Emma, I think they've already done that, haven't they?
Yeah, they're already practicing many different things as well as towable barges. They're doing all sorts of great things over there at the McCollum, and they've got a little bit more freedom because their mitigator is East Bay Mud, and East Bay Mud wants to protect their water out of Comanche, and so
if you have salmon, nobody's complaining.
When they want salmon, so they said raise a bunch of salmon. It's like, hey, there's a great idea.
And look how, other than this year was an anomaly, but look how well they've been doing down there in recent years. That's like the biggest contributor to the ocean right now.
A lot. Yeah, it's been helping out a lot. So the Feather River and the McCollum have been some big producers.
Yep. Connor, they should barge them down the Sac through Delta. I've been saying that for a long time, and they've kind of, I don't know. There's a bunch of reasons, and that, for a lightning round, it's already getting late, so we'll have to cover that later. But that's one thing we have talked about a lot on this show. Even let's see, Cody, what's this? Oh, there's the thanks, Cody. That's the
thank you.
Tracking the fish. Calfishtrack.github.io. I think Google Calfish Track and go from there would be mine.
No, that's the website. That he did that right. I know Cody. He's a smart kid. So thank you, Cody. Sutter High kid.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
Good luck getting that whole thing right.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we got anything else. Let's get. This is interesting. Let's get rid of the coded wire tags and let them go earlier with storm influence. Yep. What he's talking to, what Chris is bringing up here is our hatchery fish are outfitted with coated wire tags that go into is it in their head? I don't know where it goes. Yeah. And they have to raise them to a big enough size so they don't kill them by putting that tag in them. And so by doing that, they hold on to them longer and thus become, food for striped bass because they get released during the striped bass migration. Whereas if we could do what Chris suggests, let them go a little earlier, then we wouldn't have as much of a problem with that. So anyway,
on top of that, JD, they would be able to be released in river earlier during storms. So
yeah, right. Yeah. So let's see, what do we got here? The Porterville boys are watching and listening. What's up? Hey, look at that. His screenshot's actually a fish that he caught with me this year, and that, or his little whatever that is, emoji thing. I don't know, whatever the kids call him. But one of the I think 17 salmon I caught this year, whatever it was. Let's see. You know what? I think. Oh, here we go. Let's see. What's Spar saying? I'll take him. He wrote that a while back, so we'll have to think about what that was in reference to. Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll get you guys out of here because we've been going for an hour and a half. How can we get the hatcheries back up to speed production-wise? Doesn't our fishing license fees cover that? That's an excellent question, Mike.
It's a very good question.
Yeah, very pertinent question.
That could go another 30 minutes easily.
Right.
The Cliff Note, fast note answer is yes. Part of your license fees are supposed to go towards funding hatcheries, regulations, law enforcement, everything in fish and wildlife. There's a current audit going on in the California Department of Fish and Wildlife of how funds are used and utilized. I don't think it's all complete yet. I think it'll be done by the end of this year. COVID has slowed that down to give us exact percentages of how those funds are used. But they're also funded now by the general budget, by the governor's budget, because how large of an agency they are now and how much our fishing and hunting license sales have dropped. The first uptick was last year during COVID because sure. Everybody had nothing to do.
Right.
So everybody went fishing, and it was probably the best thing that happened to fishing license sales since 1980. People were able to do Zoom meetings for work and go fishing. So
yeah, and they still do. All right, one more. Oh, Spar, it was the dog that he was wanting. And this one, speaking of Bob Spar, he's always advocating this. So we can't catch salmon. We all head to the bay, catch drivers halibut, and it's called we're shifting the effort, and that's exactly right, Chris. All kinds of different species. You reduce something, and then other species take it in the shorts, and so yeah. It's a real thing. So anyway, Doug, thanks for tuning in. And you know what? We could go on all night. I got to go fishing tomorrow. You probably got stuff to do. You got kids to put to bed. So let's put this thing to bed. As always, thank you so much for joining. And what's up, dude?
Say hi, Trevor. Say hi, JD.
What's up, buddy? What's up? So thanks everybody tuning in, and we'll I don't know, we do these from time to time. So next big interesting thing. We'll leave it on this. This is kind of the the thought of the day. # fake wilds.
All right. This year we're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's his shirt, Connor. You get the first free one for coming up with it. So all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll bid our man James adieu, and we'll catch you soon, my man. Good job with everything you're doing.
Thank you. Go to ncgasa.org and sign up. It's $20 to support us. $20. I can't thank all the supporters. We're over 5,000 members strong, and we just keep getting stronger and stronger. Everyone loves our message. It's all about unity. It's all about everyone together fighting the fight. We all got to be together. We can't keep dividing us into individual groups. Get away from that, going into your individual group and just being in your little group. We've got to be together on the common goal of getting more fish for our next generations. You saw mine on my laps tonight. That's why I'm fighting.
Yep, absolutely. Right on, man. Thanks so
guys.
much, and keep the fight. And exactly right. That's the quick thing. And people ask, what can I do? How can I help? And the easiest thing to do is sign up. Right, kind of these backwards cameras always mess me up. Right there. Sign up at NorCal Guides and Sportsmen's Association.com or .org. Sorry, and it's $20 for a year. And how that helps is when James goes into a meeting, I go into a meeting with Fish and Game or Fish and Wildlife or DWR or whoever. We go in there and we say, we represent X number of people. Well, when we used to go in, when we first started, hi, we're some guides association. We represent like 5 guys and we meet at Perco's on every 3rd Tuesday of the month. They're like, yeah, whatever. See ya. Now we go in there and we go, hey, we represent 5,000 anglers in the state of California. We represent over half of the licensed guides in the state of California. And the people who make decisions, now they have to listen to us a little bit. So the more bodies we can put on that roll call, so we can say, hey, we represent, it'd be great to represent every salmon angler, striper angler, every angler in the state. Then we really have some clout. So $20 a year, you get your name on the list. That helps us out a lot. And then there's all kinds of volunteer opportunities too if you want to do that. But anyway, check that out. Appreciate you guys. Let's see, any other lots of questions. Sorry I can't get to you guys all. I gotta go fishing tomorrow. I shouldn't say I have to. I am going fishing tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow. So I got to get to bed. So thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you. We don't have another one scheduled, but we'll do something soon. So see you later.